Okay, so I just did some double checks. Title sequence, as I just typed it in, is fresh in my mind. I believe my last stream was March, the last day of March as we knew it or whatever, because I've switched over to stream from the PS5. But today, because the webcam's still coming, I thought I'd give Streamlabs one last chance. I wasn't able to even, when I was signing into YouTube, if it was Streamlabs uploaded live stream, I wasn't getting any decent bandwidth, the megabits per second. I wasn't getting anything better than 720, if that. It was loading, and I'd normally watch, 4K or whatever. So my bandwidth had been signed out, but I had some other things with Google, or even my carrier changes to my account, possibly re-signed it in or recontracted, enabling it to be, a new registered IP address on some other sort of algorithm platform. So all of that technical shit aside, as I clearly know it and know about it, I've got this good 5K webcam. Before the Sony one comes, I thought I'd give Streamlabs another belt at it, and I'm just doing in-between stuff at the moment because it's not GTWS exhibition season. It's just an in-between time frame. I just started reloading or checking out what engine swaps I'd done, or have just done 3 or 4 in the last night or so, and haven't been able to test drive them yet, or just been sitting back watching YouTube or whatever, and you've got to jump up to race, so I haven't been able to do it. So I've been signed in for like 12 hours straight, haven't done a race, any of these new cars. This is the, as you may recognise, that's 2017 drift car. It's got a cranking good, I think it's the NSX engine in this now. It's getting all confusing. I did a whole bunch of Subaru, the 2021 BRZ, the 2018 BRZ Sport. The 2021 one is the latest one with that really nice front end. That's the 2018 Sport. I also did the WRX Group 3 road car, which is, I think that's got the NSX engine. What's this one got? I'll just double check. Yeah, the NSX as well. I think this one's the NSX. Do a quick run through. Oh, that's the CTR. So it's got the sort of Porsche sister company CTR. This one must have the other NSX. Oh no, it's got the L7 Corvette. So that's the 2018 one. There's a silver one. Oh no, the Carbon BRZ S21. It's another road car. And it's got the Super. It's a 2JZ attempt. I think it'll be the most fun car, but depending on how that pulls, it didn't pull very well in another car. It was a Supra, older Supra engine, and it was a newer car, whereas this is the latest spec car. So it'll have all the mod cons in the, adaptive suspension and all that intuitive stuff, but it'll be lacking. And I think I've either got the option for I think a medium or an ultra turbo fitted to it as well. So jumping through all my settings, I switched it back from an ultra high just to have a 700p car, because I want to do the test out most cars. I do the half an hour race. I don't think I'll be able to do that. I usually, if I've got multiple ones, I'll do one half an hour race and then I'll take the other 1 or 2 out at an Nürburgring, just in a lobby. The TT not in showcase, in campaign mode is where I sort of set times at the Nordschleife, but usually in cars that aren't necessarily engine swap or necessarily, they're just road cars anyway, so I've driven them before. I sort of know how they're going to handle with what they've got, whereas engine swap cars, you're like, all of a sudden, no, that's the wrong turbo, or I don't need that, or I can lift the PP. But usually on the engine swap cars I run racing mediums, and on ordinary tuned cars I run 700p racing hards. So the engine swaps, I give the better tyre, which increases it from 700p feasibility, because they always boost, they always get up over 700. And then I just go open slather on all the settings, give it everything it can as an engine swap, and just really see what these cars will do with everything. But I still retain the engine swap racing mediums as a base platform for the engine swaps, and Racing Hard's 700p for any other cars. Obviously I've got the, I think it's open class for the hypercars like the Zonda or the Valkyrie and a couple other cars like that, but I haven't really done any VGT, and the Group 1 cars that I've done are at the Nordschleife 24 hour, so they're sort of in a different time trial. But I'm just verbalising this to reflect back on how my TTs are set up, and they are as that. Might be one of those videos I might be able to hark back to just to catch up with stuff. So I'll just flip this on a better projector so I've got full screen. I don't normally worry about the projector screen being full screen on my Streamlabs because I put the VR on and that's my full screen. So this takes up, you know, the majority of those windows. That's pretty good central. I just guessed where to put that window of me. So yeah, there's the Nordschleife and then the 24 hours. I'll just double check. I think it's any time of day or reflect all of the times. So you go in and then you grab the ranking board, not to boast, but you've got the complete ranking board, which I've got all the Group 1s and the open wheelers, which were sort of up there. The 2021s haven't been updated. Is it 2021 SF20? I think it's SF21. So I've got to redo them, and it's fucking Suzuka weekend, so I might do that. Do a couple laps here and do a couple laps in Suzuka while I'm in there, because it's a certain type of driving. So there's all the Group 1s. I have done a BGT Vision Gran Turismo, the electric car from Volkswagen, which that's not Group 1, is it? I think that's like a Vision car. And then the other Ferrari Vision, couldn't restrain myself. Porsche Vision, because it's one of those, it's weird, it's in the Vision category, but it's like 1,000 horsepower, whereas the other Vision cars are like 600, and that's like stock. But in any of the campaign races where you do Vision car selections, the Porsches are far and afield above all the other ones. There's a couple I haven't got, but yeah, I don't think I tried the Lambo or the Ferrari actually in those Vision categories, so I might get back to that as well. I'm glad I did this. Then we got the drift car. It was 11 or 1,200 horsepower, so I'd sort of done it earlier at the 24-hour track before I started to do these. So I can delete that time. Actually, it shouldn't be there, and I'll do that today, because they are categorized here, I guess, to a certain degree, because it doesn't tell you. It tells you the track conditions at that time, but it doesn't tell you what the PP is. You've just got to sort of select it, and it comes into that bracket. But yeah, I can delete that, as it shouldn't be there. It was done earlier, and it was an 827 or something. So I'm going to ship that in today, because I've got that car ready to try. And then so some of them did fall into this category, which is 600 below. But that's, like I said, the Vision cars are low on PP sometimes, and the horsepower reflects. Jeez, how's my hair today? That's funny seeing myself on TV. Yeah, so then there's the 24-hour Group 1 cars and a few Vision. I'll have to remember the Vision are in that category as well. But I'm like this. I'm a bit like a wingnut sometimes, where I just try and get on top of, like, yeah, formally categorise everything. Sometimes it's a bit anal, or ADS, that other disease, the other one. So what do we got here? 700p. It includes, I believe, race cars as well. So why didn't that work? I want the tourist. No. My face was blocking it. So that was the tourist layout. I don't think I've set any times there. So this is back to the Nordschleife outright. TTs are as follows. 700p. Yeah, racing mediums have fallen into this category before, even when I've opened them up, but I think, keeping them at 700 to begin with, and then I opened them up because some of them were just above that. So I think I've limited the ones that were above that to 800, just because I couldn't reduce them, if you know what I mean, without buying a new car. I've sort of gone above 700, so I've had to chuck them up here. But I could redo these ones that are limited to 700, but I'm so far behind that I'll have to just come back to them because I'd rather just drive new ones. You can tell they're limited because they're like 700 on the dot, and I could go above that. But there are so many new ones that I want to try, like all of these new Chiron engines that came in the last 2 updates really of engine swaps. I haven't done any since then, so yeah, I don't know, in between GTWS I thought I'd get back onto them, and it really does, it's absorbing. Like I've got a whole list on my iPad, engine swap, where I've ticked them, has cars that can get an engine swap, and I tick them when they've got one, so I've sort of done that, but I can only get through a few in a session. So in this session I'll do this Subaru. Last time I did a freaking engine swap drive, I did all the Nissans. So I did like 3-4 different Silvias, another 2 or 3 GTRs, and haven't got back to it, except the Nismo Chiron. So before the other day, Bathurst, I remember GTWS Nations Cup season that we just had. It was the second last round at Bathurst, so I did the day before a whole heap, try and see how fast the Nismo will go with the Chiron engine, and I thought it'll be one of these top cars for that type of car. Jesus, it was quick. Like I would hold 4 out of 5 laps, but just being able to really get the potential out of it was incredible. So I'll start slow because I haven't been on in friggin' a few days, and just do the half-hour race to get some money back, because I bought a $20 million Ferrari 250 GT and a $20 million Mercedes vintage car. But the turnover's been really quick with these weekly races, so I didn't want to bore you with these weekly races, but they came in yesterday or today and restarted. And they've either been updated and reduced in their value. I used to get like 700k out of a weekly drop of these green dot races, and I was doing that for like probably half a dozen consecutively, and all of a sudden had 20 million, bought a 20 million credit car, automatically had another 20 million without even trying really. This is during the GTWS season. So that was a big money gainer, and some people look at it, a bonus race, it must be like Racing Sophie, not worth your time a day, not even free. I mean, beginner novice, they might get a little bit out of Racing Sophie, but that's a bit of a disappointment. But these were a bit of a credit boost, so I was sort of doing them every time, as you can imagine. But this 700's just been a staple since day dot, the start of this game. I'm not sick of it, because I always just use it as testing out new cars, but with engine swap cars, I really have to do a lot to the settings, like just to accommodate the top speed, but also not have such high revs at the top speed. So if you don't give yourself a bit more of a buffer in your top end, especially with 5-speed cars, you just burn too much fuel. And it is a fuel-saving race, really, regardless of what the car is, will depend on what weather you get. So I'd say they negotiated with the manufacturers, for your car, for this campaign race or that campaign race, do you want it to be in wet or in dry? And it'll really show off the car in certain ways. So it is repeat, that the car that you choose will repeat each time if you're a beginner of the game. So you can get good at one car at this race and get 800k every time. So I recommended starting with the 2 cars that win. They're Group 4 Corvette and the Group 4 Dodge. If you use the Group 4 if you use the road car Corvette and the road car Dodge, you got a much better, a faster car. It's not restricted to Group 4 top end. So you just blow past them at nice, safe and easy places on the straight. It's pretty much easy racing. You can lounge around doing something else while you're racing if you want, because you're using a road car. You've got that top end, blow past them. But yeah, no, that's just what I do. So most people probably do it, but they may not have the patience that I have to do it time and time again and not get sick of it. But if you muck around with the cars and change cars from each time, I'm a stickler for this game. You should get good at one car, but the guys that change cars all the time, they're sort of just good at racing, and they race against other people in a car they haven't driven before, but they can adapt real quickly. But with this, because it's just a campaign race, you can change cars every time and just do it as a credit haul. So that's a bit of an insight in case this goes viral. And I mean sick. Like a pandemic. But other than that, g'day jokers that drop in, the one or two of you, and let's just do this. I don't talk much when I'm racing because I don't do two things very well at the same time. I can multitask, but I just think you should do one thing properly, and I'm only here for footage. I didn't mind ever. For years I was streaming on my previous account. I would just have the screen, I wouldn't really talk to it, and I didn't have a camera. So it was just for racing footage. I do have an older steering wheel rig, so the fact that the compatibility now is a bit of a hang up where I'd get limited feedback or sensitivity. It just needs to be recalibrated in the lobby that I'm driving in this car. But if it's too much camber or not, sometimes you get to pull away with too much power. You've got to remember with these sort of engine swap cars, you've got to slow down a hell of a lot more. It goes without saying, but it's just too quick sometimes. Especially for a road car that has, like I gave it all the downforce I'm sure I could possibly get on a road car, but they're still very limited. See, I'm already winding out. I've got a top gear. I may not have done the transmission in this, but I didn't do the transmission. So I was setting up, before I started streaming and showing you the cars, I was setting up I believe it's the WRX road car. Sorry for the false start, but I'm keen to try this car out because it's got the 2JZ. It's not going to be as fast as the other cars, but it's a race engine in a road car, and it will be a lot of fun. But I think I set up these two cars and this car particularly, so I'll start there and go 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe take that out in the Nordschleife. But at least I know I've sort of set these ones up, I believe, unless I chuck the mediums on, which I could have done. I'll just double check. Because I'm hoping to do a couple of them in the time trial, so I was setting up for both, but I do want to do one or two of them. This is going to be probably the fastest out the whole lot. It's well over 1,000 horse. But I remember it's only a 5-speed, so I'm already limited. Luxury of fuel saving the upper gear, because a lot of this is in the top gear, and you wind out the top gear. I set them up 5-speed as a 6-speed just without first gear, so I'm in, where am I? Oh, I've got heaps of fuel. This has got a race fuel tank, so it's funny for a drift car. Turn 14, this isn't the Isle of Man endurance frickin' tour. That's interesting, it's got a huge fuel tank, 5 laps. I don't think any cars have got that. Alright, so I don't have to, but I suppose drift cars, they run out really high revs continuously. Like there's redlining every gear to keep things spinning. Holy shit, 270, 280. That's got a good race, like a AEM sort of did. Oh, high tech. Front spoiler. High tech or multi-tech brand. dash. And they're pretty much plug and play. A lot of the cars, race cars that you're set up, track focused or whatnot, you can just pull out your dash and put in one of them, put it in your ECU and match up all of that. So 3.8, it does chew it, but that's already done a lap's worth of juice. That's fourth gear, that's third gear. If you can imagine, I shifted it from 5 speed to a 6 speed. First gear. Just to save fuel in this race, but also because it's just going to be too quick. You won't need first gear. It's a ridiculous engine. Yeah, doing 300 there, not many cars can pull that quickly. Yeah, it's not a long straight between those chicanes. To be able to get to 300 in between those is pretty potent. It's going backwards. Remember when Sport Mode came out, and that Group 4 was one of the fastest Group 4, the Beamer. At top end. Fourth gear. Take this in third. Second. There isn't any tracks really where I'd use a car that I can customise the gearbox for that I would use first gear. You can just set it a bit lower for the second gear. Sort of seems ridiculous. A little bit lacking. Rear end camber, I'd say. So nearly two laps worth of petrol. It was at 5. So even though they give you a bit of extra juice in this car, it's an absolute drain. It's a drainer. And then again, I might reach first place in one lap. So it's also one of the fastest cars I've got. Always contest that, doesn't matter if you're parallel or you're on the inside. They'll try and take that neck and neck. Really aggressive in some places, and other places they shoot. So it's that unpredictability that makes campaign very unfavourable for a lot of people, but you get used to it. Nuances of the AI. I'd rather do that because in my lifetime I'm sure I'm going to see helpful, handy robots that aren't just a crane. And promoting the fact that yeah, they're stupid, they're a robot, but getting to know them is basically unapplicable. It's an application sense technology. As stupid as AI is, get to know it in this. It's not that it makes it competitive, it's only ever really a challenge. You don't start from the back of the grid to try and get prize money at first, second, or third if it's even remotely a race. You know? The fact that the people that have really fluid algorithms with the PlayStation Network, or however that works, and they do times that where the best you can do with POP and those settings is like seconds slower. It just doesn't seem like that's all it comes down to. I think there is some sort of fluid algorithms for gamers or the promotion of GTWS players that it's pointing the finger at the game not being fair, it's completely corrupt, and that's it's not really ever talked about because nobody ever wants to play a game that they're trying to play fair, and it's not fair at the top end. It's bad promotion, it's bad for sport, but it is what it is. See, even the roll cage is built for lightweight takes a lap or two to really, weather's coming, to really get used to the car and have fun in this race. Learn the feel because it's weather pending, incoming, this year, whichever you prefer. And because there's dark blue as a staple, that does mean you'll need to change the tyre this lap. Whenever you deal with that sort of blue, it's going to go above the first line of the water meter, and that means slicks are not. You can probably hang in there on slicks if it's only at the first line or just above it. But once it reaches the first line, your lap potential has gone through the girdler if you're not on at least enters. And that's just an absolute good thing from PD, probably digital to set up as a basic rule of thumb. You've got the water meter there on the left, enters after the first line and wets at the top line. If it hovers at the top line, you're really potentially on your lap pace. You should be on wet tyres. You can easily drive on inters, but you do get better out of wets, full wets. I only ever buy inters because this never gets torrential. I have seen it, super torrential, but it's only like a squall. It briefly. So if you don't want to spend your money on tyres and you just get inters and your preferred tyre, I use hards, even for, I don't know, it's, again, that algorithm specific thing. You can do better on sport tyres or hard tyres for the fluidity or the fluid of the circuit, you know, without any lagging or glitching. And other cars, especially in lobbies, aren't under the same spec, so they're not even in the same ballpark, if you know what I mean. That's the girl there. I made it all black and white because it's ridiculous. Sponsor, which is not like the Exxon LV, but if you make a sponsor, which is just a diesel company like Caltex or Castrol or Shell, that is, oh look at that, it was a brief one. So we'll just do a sprint lap on these inters, because it doesn't look like they'll be needed for another second lap, but on the other side of the spectrum, do 3 laps out of slicks. So the mere fact that, well, it does, but it also means that you can do both at the same time. Like you don't have, especially on gaming, I don't think you can do that. Anyway, what a fail. 230k is just for a top 10 finish, so it was worth 3 minutes. But not, because I don't even know what buttons do what. I've got to pause. I've got a snapshot. I've got to see what car position I'm in. I've never even configured my DS. So a bit of a fail, but at least we did anything. Went through my TT list, got a reflection on what that is. To come at it, and also like found out I can use my new replacement spring on something. It had become a bit of a spare part redundancy because I thought, I'll need a new wheel before I use this spring, but I was only going to replace the brake pedal just to have a fresh new one. But the funny thing is the brake pedal has the clutch spring, and it would be factory a better spring, because I've had to replace the brake pedal on this before, and I got it from Mitre 10 or something, from a fasteners, maybe a nut and bolt shop, and it was the same spec, but it didn't seem as good a quality, whereas the This factory one from the clutch was the same spring, but from Sony. It was good quality spring. From Thrustmaster. So, from Thrustmaster was a better quality spring than the one I got from the hardware. So I thought, all right, if I'm going to replace it again, I'll get a new one. If need be, needs replacing, and I'll just use the Thrustmaster spare parts. So apparently it's an OEM part that works for sim racing. It's a genuine part, but yeah, what a pain in the ass. I've got to do that now. T3 PA Pro part. Fucking said in his patience he dropped off. Where's this thing? Get rid of the feet. Get rid of the face. Get rid of the mic. Signing off. Enjoy the replay, as little as it may be. Eye candy. 101. So I could say check, but I'm guessing that these procedures are easy for some people and not for others. So to do a quick how-to video, well, I've got to do it anyway. I figure T3 PA pedals are the most common. I just think I've got to take, initially I thought I've done it before, it was pretty easy. But how I did it. How I love you, how I love you. Well, Daryl. No. Screwdriver is really cool. It's got its bits in the base plate. I'm hoping that these Allen key that's a bit loose. But there's two sizes. So Phillips flat, a couple of Allen keys. That's all you need. And that's loose. Well, there's three, but because it's a surfboard company, they're three of the same size. So I would recommend that. It's a ratchet screwdriver. That is useless for this application, so I thought it had a couple of Allen keys. That's why I bought the toolbox, the drill bits. Magnetised. I would recommend to do it yourself is to get a magnet for your drill bits. That's going to be the second last one. That'll be the one. And you shall see. That only gives me full access. It is a bit of a redundant one. But I can use this drill bit, which is very fine. There's my electric bit. Those screws in there because that's where they're going to go. Get rid of that greasy knob. Rag on hand. For this instance, I've got to use my extension because that's zipped all the way in. I think when I put this together, I only put minimum. I put one outside, left one. Don't need it. Ability to skip forward, so I guess it is just while this is on. Should be using my ratchet, but I figured that this would be quicker when I do the video because it's power drill. How to change T3 PA spring guess the easiest way to do it is don't buy a Thrustmaster, but these were an upgrade for both the T300 and the T5. T5 RS, which is this one. Sure, I'm going to take this all off. Wish I had a finer point freaking Phillips head. These are pretty tight little screws. Fine as in a small X that marks the spot, but I don't think I would have done it much too differently because it's too tightly, because it's just this metal fairing cover. Couldn't remember how to do it, but it looks like a pretty straightforward process. More at the back here. Those two that I just dropped in there are slightly different, so I'll keep them separate. Just for shits and giggles. Black ones. These ones are round heads, and the other ones are kind of something. So it's slightly different. Specimen.